Hey everyone. Today we're going to be working on a figure drawing. A figure is a picture of a person or animal in an artwork. So it's the way that you draw the arms and legs and the bones to make them look realistic. So we're going to be drawing a picture of a character that you created, and we're going to use our knowledge of the skeleton to make him look the right size and make his arms and legs look like they're bending the right way. And then we're going to also work on some patterns so that we can fill up the empty spaces in a way that's interesting. So you're going to need a piece of paper and a pencil, something to color with, and then we're going to get right into drawing the skeleton and then adding lots of details on top of that to make our character. I'm going to start off by drawing a quick little reference of a skeleton, the one that we're going to use for our drawings today. And you'll see they don't have a lot of details. It's very simple because we're not drawing a skeleton, we're drawing a person. And the skeleton is just to help us organize things and plan it out. So I have a head, ribs, hips connected by the spine. If he was gonna lean, I would draw the head, ribs, and hips diagonal, so it looked like he was leaning one way or the other. And then the legs are connected to the body at the hips. They have two parts. There's the bone above your knee, and then the rest of your leg below the knee with feet on the ends. Same thing for the arms. They're almost identical, they're just a little bit shorter. So they're connected to the body at the shoulder. There's the part above your elbow, and then the part below your elbow down to your hand. So this is the skeleton I'm going to use. I'm going to stick it right there just for reference. Using our reference skeleton, we're going to draw our character in the pose that we want him or her to be in. He could be doing an activity or playing a game, anything really that we want our character to be doing. We can make him look that way by bending his arms and his legs. Now, as I draw my character, I know that there are certain changes that I'm going to make. One of those changes is I'm going to make his head a little bit bigger, and I'm going to bring his ribs and hips a little bit close together. What that's going to do is it's going to make him look a little bit funner, a little bit more cartoonish, and it's also going to make him look a little bit more like a kid. And since that's the kind of character I'm trying to draw, I'm going to make those changes, but I'm still going to keep all the other parts of the skeleton there. His arms are still going to have two pieces with an elbow in between, and his legs are still going to have two parts with the knee in between. I'm just going to make a few adjustments to make my character look more like the character I want him to be. Once you finish drawing the skeleton and everything's in the place you want it to be, then it's time to start adding details. First, we start with the big details, like the clothes. Now, things like clothes seem more difficult to draw, but if you think about it, they're just basic shapes. So if you take a minute and figure out what shapes each piece of clothing are made from, it makes it a lot easier to draw. So if we're drawing a shirt is basically a square or a rectangle, and the sleeves that come off of it are more squares or rectangles. So which means a shirt is really just three rectangles that are connected together in the shape of a T. And shorts is just two rectangles, one rectangle for each leg of the shorts, and then you have shorts. I'm also going to add some shoes to my character, and I have to remember that my arms and legs need to be thick enough for me to color in when I get to the coloring step. As you're following along, don't forget that you can make any changes you want to your character. You can change his pose, you can change his clothes, you can change his face. Now, the way that I like to draw a hand is I like to use a trapezoid. A trapezoid is kind of like a square. It's got four sides, except one side is small and the other side is bigger. So I put the bigger side on top, and then that's where I put the fingers. So all four fingers stick out of the large side of the trapezoid, and then I put the thumb coming out of the side. And it looks a little bit like French fries inside a French fry container, but when you add the details, it looks like a very realistic hand. Now, when I'm drawing a more difficult shape of a hand, like if it was in a fist, or if the fingers were bent in a certain way, it's a lot more helpful to just look at your own hand and try to draw the shapes that you see. Fingers are a little bit like rectangles pressed against each other, and your thumb might overlap in front, and your palm is just another shape that's touching the fingers. Remember that this is your character, so you can make changes to the way he's standing and the way his face looks. One way to make your character unique is to give him a different facial expression or a different hairstyle. And when we get to adding details on the clothes, don't forget that you can add whatever kind of designs and decorations to the clothes to make your character look unique. Another very important part of the picture that tells us a lot about your character is the background that you choose to add to it. So, as you're drawing your background, think about what kind of background would go along with the character that you've created. My character is holding a balloon and he's waving to us, so I decided to put him in a park. And I created my background just like a landscape picture of a park. Once I'm finished drawing my character and the background and as much detail as I want to put in pencil, it's time to get a marker and trace all of my lines. As I trace the picture, I'm going to start putting in lots of the patterns I want. And I'm going to try to put patterns in everywhere. That's one way of making an empty space a lot more interesting. So you can see that if I'm drawing a big tree and I put these squiggly little shapes inside of it, that's going to make the tree look a lot more interesting and a lot more full. Here it is with all the patterns in it. Now I'm going to erase all of these pencil lines because I don't like the way that they smudge in with the markers and make them look dirty. And then I'm going to color everything and let's see what it turns out looking like. Here's the finished drawing with all the colors and patterns in it. You can see that where I drew patterns, I also tried to use two different colors to make the patterns show up a little bit better. So I've got a lot of dark green and light green patterns, and I have a dark gray, light gray pattern in the clouds. So the patterns are important to making those big, large areas look a lot more interesting and not just big, plain, empty spaces. I hope you had fun with this drawing, and I will see you next time, and we'll do another activity. Bye.